Okay, so I will share what I want to train you on today, and then we will go a little bit deeper into each slide as well. So here we go. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen. Good, okay, awesome. Okay, so this is kind of what I do. I help women find a life partner, and this one is all about without the fear of getting hurt in this particular training, right? So I think what holds us back from really wanting to show up again in dating is that we feel we're going to get hurt again because we have got hurt before. And that's very normal for the brain to want to protect us from getting hurt again. So let me know if you agree that it's difficult to date when you just don't want to get hurt again. You can always put an emoji in, put a thumbs up, let me know where you're at. Definitely want to keep it engaging the whole time we're here together. Okay, I've got a little one from Kareshma. Awesome. Okay. So this training is for women who have been looking for love for a long time. They find themselves choosing the wrong guy, skeptical to date, yet they really want to meet Mr. Right and build a healthy, loving relationship. So what if you could take control of love in your life? You didn't have to leave it all up to fate. Thinking, okay, well, someone will introduce me, he'll walk in, it'll happen. I'm just going to focus on work while I do. And yet year after year, week after week, month after month, it feels like you're just choosing the wrong people. So again, thumbs up if you agree, if you're with me. Okay, so you want to connect with a life partner, but you don't want to get hurt again. And this is what I hear a lot from clients, what I personally experienced in my life as well before I met my life partner. You want to choose the right men. I think we've all been through stages where we think they're the right men, and then we realize they're not. And we're like, oh, why am I here again? You want to manage your fears. You want to gain that emotional freedom. Again, give me a thumbs up if you're with me here. If this is all resonating, let me know. And you want to date without compromising your standards or without wasting time. And this is really what we're going to dig into a lot here today. This is not for you if you're not looking for a life partner, if you're not looking for healthy love, you can leave the call. That is fine. This is more just on people that are on that journey right now. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of the 5 common mistakes we make when we're looking for a life partner. Well, we tend to play games versus really sharing how we feel. So that could be like, you're not going to send a text and say what you feel because you feel like he should do it first, or you're not going to go up, and then you'll agree with me here, you're not going to go and make that first move because you feel he should make the first move. So these are the kind of games I'm talking about. We're disconnected from how to manage our emotions when we care about someone. So we just shut down. We all have coping mechanisms. Some of us shut down, some of us avoid, some of us isolate, others of us just keep busy and distract so we don't have to deal with that. Also, we haven't healed from past pain, be it from a previous relationship or where we first saw love. And this is really where my specialty lays in childhood, right? So we bring that pain along in our dating journey. We don't know how to communicate what we need and set boundaries. And we are focused on meeting Mr. Right that we lose curiosity, we lose presence, we lose that enjoyment of actually dating. Where dating should be fun at the end of the day. So personally, I was very afraid of this, if I get too close, he will leave. So I ended up kind of pushing away partners, acting like I was fine and I was chill and I was just going with the flow. When in reality, I discovered that I had a fear of abandonment because of losing my father when I was 7 and he left. And as a 7-year-old, I couldn't understand that. And he just never came back. And so that kind of like carried on through me until I addressed it. And these are things we don't always know until we go back and discover what's going on. Okay. Like moving my little face around so you can see it. So we've got the mistakes that we make. And now let's look a little bit at the 5 practices that help us find the right partner. Okay, and even before we do that, can you just go, I'm just gonna go back. Can you just like name a mistake that you've made? Like which one do you resonate with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just put it in the chat right now. I'd love to see what you resonate with because I really want to be engaging. So I'll wait to see in the chat who resonates with what. I can have been looking at the chat. Okay, let's just take a look at that. Oh, I like it. Okay. So we have 4 and 5, 4, 4 and 5. Everyone kind of resonates with that. That's awesome. It shows that. So 4 and 5, we don't know how to communicate. Oh, wow, you're going to learn a lot. So stay tuned. And we are focused on meeting Mr. Right. Yes, we lose curiosity. And that just makes it frustrating, right? Like when you don't enjoy it, you don't want to do it naturally. So now what are the 5 practices that kind of help us find the right partner, that really get us on that very clear path to being able to stop playing games, stop being afraid to communicate what we need and just moving in the right direction? But we do want to build vulnerability and say what we feel versus always going silent on somebody. So building vulnerability is speaking up for yourself, but not where you're telling like the person your whole life story, but that you're building that slowly by slowly. Maybe instead of your whole life story, you would say, well, what you just said right now made me feel uncomfortable. And it made me feel uncomfortable because of this. And you give a reason. Now, the other practice that we want to do is learning self-love, like naming our feelings, such as this makes me feel hurt. And then of course, validating them. And, Nene, we've done that a lot. So I think you're getting used to this practice. One of my favorite statements to really connect to your feelings, and this is how you build emotional freedom, is it's okay to feel. And then you put in what you feel. So many of us just say, I'm fine. It's his lot. I'll be fine. But in reality, we're not connecting to the emotion that we've experienced when we go through pain in dating as well, or when something happens that does hurt. So it's really important to acknowledge the feeling, because whatever feeling you don't acknowledge is just going to persist and it's going to come back and you're going to be triggered by it as you move forward. So one of the little post-its that I always like ask my clients to put up is, it's okay to feel. And then you can put that up all over your room or your bathroom or in your car, and just remind yourself that it's okay to feel a certain way. Because unfortunately, as children, we were not taught that certain feelings were okay. So we often close down from them. And those are the generations that many of us come from. There'd be the few people that are living in our generation now that would have been taught that. So let me know if you agree again, put an emoji in. If you don't, ask a question, please always be transparent, be vulnerable, say what you need to say. Then we ask and answer what has hurt me in my past. So it's really important to ask, well, what has hurt me? What have I learned? What do I need to tell myself to give myself that closure from that specific experience, right? So you do want to acknowledge what's hurt you. You do want to acknowledge the pain that you've come from and the process that it's taken for you to get to where you're at. So this is kind of going back to the past, but it's all in service of your present. The next one is we practice communicating with appreciation, validation, and boundary. I'm going to give you that whole template here so you know how to do that in any relationship, but especially dating. The next one is we create a mindset that gets you focused on being curious, being present versus just tunnel vision. Only I've got to meet Mr. Right, and disregarding him for that one thing that you aren't feeling. So really giving people a few more opportunities to show their colors, and you a few more opportunities to practice what you want to get better at. And that kind of creates this whole vibe of being happy and calm and deep. Okay, I'm going to stop for a moment. Do you have any questions? Are you resonating? Give me a little idea in the chat and I'll go back to the chat and take a peek. Okay, I've got a few thumbs up. All right, so let's continue then. Any questions, also pop them into the chat. Happy to address them. So ideally, the feeling of dating and love is too painful. It can feel like, you're being stung by something. Like it's just too painful to even go there. And where I would want to get you to is that energized. So if you're energized by dating, you're on your path to finding love, you're not like wasting time, you're not getting like, you're able to handle rejection, you're not getting like caught up in he didn't like me, but you're more focused on, did I like him? Was that really a good fit for me? So that's really important to keep in mind. That's how we feel energized. Nice to meet you. I'm Sasha. So I want to tell you a little bit about why I started. I wrote you an email about this too. After being driven by my own childhood trauma, fear of abandoning me, unable to express my emotions or ask for what I needed, I almost self-sabotaged my own life partnership. So like I found my life partner, and then a whole bunch of stuff kind of came up as we were together, mostly self-driven. And then I almost self-sabotaged that partner, like just that relationship in general. So as it hung by a thread, I made a choice to save it. I addressed my love fears. I healed my inner child. I gained emotional freedom. such as learning to process my emotion. I raised my standards, like what my standards were in that relationship, which were different at that time. And I manifested the healthy relationship I wanted. I envisioned what I wanted, and then I created it into fruition as well. And so this has really driven me to do what I do now, and that is conscious love mentorship. So I created it at a time that I was doing my own healing. I was going through a lot of being able to gain that emotional freedom, being able to express myself. And then alongside that, with several trainings and learning more about trauma, learning more about the inner child, learning more about self-love and dating and relationships, I combined everything to create the mentorship. And the Conscious Love Mentorship is a mentorship I created as I healed my own wounds developed in my childhood from obvious and also not so obvious emotional neglect. And as I rebuilt my own healthy, loving relationship with my life partner. So this is the reason that I want to work with women who are particularly dating, is because so much of the work that you do on you now is not only going to attract the partner that you want in your life, but it's going to help you attract the right partner. Because you've heard of people that go into marriages and it doesn't work out, and they didn't really ever attract the right partner for a lifetime, maybe for a period, right? Not to say that we should ever regret those things, but we're always learning. And this mentorship and kind of doing the work on you is all about really allowing you to prepare yourself to attract that partner that you're going to be with for the rest of your life. Like, you're going to be together because you've already addressed so much in you that you've allowed your vibration to rise up as well. And then you're going to attract the person at that vibration. I just have to share like a little success story. I did this mentorship with my cousin 3 years ago. She was like one of the first people that I did it with because I wasn't ready to work with clients. And you guys, she met her partner on Tinder like 6 months after the mentorship. And she'd been applying the work. She was super consistent. And you guys, she got engaged yesterday. They got engaged and proposed. So I just wanted to share it, give you some hope and exciting little thing to share. Okay, let me know how you're doing. Put it in the chat. I'm going to keep like looking back at the chat. I want to address any questions you have. Congratulations, Sachi. Yeah, exactly. And I believe this is possible. And I want this to be possible for so many others. And that's why I'm here doing this work. And I'm so glad you're here too. Okay, so when I knew all of that, I knew like about my fear of abandonment. I knew what was going on with me, the healing that needed to be done, the trauma that was showing up from childhood into adulthood. I was able to ditch the fear of getting hurt for good, because even though I was in a relationship at the time, I had this fear even when I was dating. And I had to come to terms with that fear of abandonment. And I came to terms with it. And then I went into the relationship and experienced that fear again. And it wasn't until I really did the work on me that fear fully dissolved. And I can finally say that I'm at that stage today. So I learned emotional freedom to communicate my standards, to heal from past pain and carry. I learned to up my worth, even in my current relationship, and detach from old love patterns and beliefs, the stories we tell ourselves, the things that have happened that we feel are our only possible story, when yet there's so many more stories that exist in our past. So when you want to ditch the fear of getting hurt in love, right? It's kind of the ditching the fear of getting hurt for what? For meeting your life partner, for doing it, for showing up in this curious way, for not being afraid to show up because you're afraid he's going to hurt you. That all love is a risk. I'm not going to lie to you. You can be in a 20-year marriage and you can still be taking a risk every day. Love is a risk at the end of the day. But when you learn how to cope with the different feelings that come up across the way and you learn to communicate, the risk seems more manageable than when you don't have those tools. So I'm going to break it all down for you. Let's do this. Let's get started. We're going to go into the mistakes. Okay, mistake number one is carrying past pain into your present day dating. Definitely own up to this one myself. I did it for years and years before I met my partner. A wound is a pain. So just to let you know, like, what do we mean by past pain, right? It's a wound. It stays open and it's triggered over and over until we do the work to heal it. Now, there's a lot out there on SM, podcast, books that are talking about wounds that occur in childhood, in early relationships that continue to stay open as a wound and get triggered in dating and in future relationships as well. So the wound is a result of the trauma that you experience. Now, trauma is not just, a parent dying or divorce or a toxic relationship or living in a war zone, for example. Trauma is now being researched to include even smaller things that we think aren't as big, right? So even other things such as not being able to express your needs, not feeling like you were heard as a child, not being shamed, being blamed a lot, being told that you weren't enough because your grades weren't good enough. These are also parts of trauma that affect how we date, and they affect the relationships that we call in, because we learn them in our first love relationships, which are in childhood. The first people we learned to love, the first people we saw that loved us. So the trauma left as a wound becomes open, and it will be triggered over and over again. There is a Dr. Gabor Mate who does a lot of research on this work on trauma healing. He's got some amazing books and podcasts. I'll put it in the chat. And you can learn a lot about how trauma isn't what happened to you. It's the wound that was left after what happened to you. And that wound does need to go back and be healed. And the good thing is you can heal it. You can't change what happened to you, but you can heal the wound. So let me know if it's resonating. I'm going to go back to the chat. Just give me a thumbs up. Keep connecting with me, okay? And I'll put Dr. Gabor Mate is the author of the books on trauma healing. I'm going to put that in the chat right now for you. Okay, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, Nani, you're with me. Okay, awesome. Sachi, Karashma, I know you're at work. Are you with me? Give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Awesome. So we're going back again to mistake number one. We're still in it. And mistake number one, again, is identifying who and what in your past, right? So when you're carrying past pain, how can you really start to move from that? It's by identifying who and what in your past has really hurt you is how you heal. And that includes giving whatever that was closure, giving it forgiveness, giving it understanding, and identifying what you have learned is how the wound becomes whole. So I'm going to leave you with some questions. I'm also going to send you this so you have it with you that can help you get there. Because I know it's hard to just kind of figure that all out on your own. It definitely was for me. I'm moving my little face everywhere. So just because it doesn't hurt now, it does not mean it's fully healed. Just because you don't think about it anymore, it doesn't mean it's healed. It's like a dormant volcano. When triggered, it feels like lava starts to burn your heart again. And that's what happens when you go on a date. You can get triggered and the pain that you had from the past can burn again. And then you're like, I'm going to shut down. I'm not going to reach out. I'm going to play these games. I'm not going to show up again. I'm not going to date. I'm going to go on a dating break for like 6 months because I got, this wound was triggered again. But imagine that wound was healed and it wasn't triggered again. Imagine how you would date if that were the case. So their answer is to kind of reflect and heal from our past pain, right? So you don't carry it forward into your dating journey. So reflecting means that these are the questions I want you to answer as I share this with you. If you're really up to kind of going there, doing the work, starting to break some patterns. When did I feel the most hurt and by whom? What has that made me most scared of? What patterns have I seen in my love life since that hurt? Because that when we acknowledge what the pattern is, we know how to break it because we know how to identify it. The first step to doing any healing, to breaking free from any pain, is identifying that it exists and then being able to catch it in the moment. So let's say you're on a date, you've identified a pattern that you have, you're there, and all of a sudden you notice, I'm in that pattern again. And you can catch it. And catching it more and more as you practice is that's when the healing really starts. That's when you start to break that pattern. So you first have to be aware of what it is. And that's why you have to answer these questions, right? And what do I need to tell myself to get closure from it? So it's all about what you tell yourself. It's not about only what happened. You're telling yourself a story that existed in the past. He hurt me. He wasn't, good enough. He left. He lied. He wasn't available. All I do is attract emotionally available men. I keep meeting the wrong guys. These are all stories that exist in the past. But what about the story that you want to be telling yourself that exists in the present? And that is your choice. And that's how you do kind of earn that closure as well. Even if a guy never gave you the closure, even if he never ended it, he just ghosted you, you still have the right to earn your closure by reflecting on what you would tell yourself in that space. What do you need to be hearing to get the closure from you? Who do I need to forgive for the pain I experienced? That's the last question. And you don't forgive for that person. You don't forgive to let them off the hook. You forgive for yourself. You forgive so you no longer have to carry the burden of not forgiving, right? So you always forgive for you. I was betrayed in my marriage, and it was a one-off type of situation. Life was hectic. Counseling happened after, therapy happened. Counselor was like, really like, this is not a chronic thing I see, which really helped. But at the end of the day, I was betrayed. And I did not forgive my partner and the person that he betrayed me with. I forgave myself. I had to forgive for me. I didn't forgive myself. I had to forgive for me. I didn't forgive for them. And once I was able to forgive for me, like forgive them to release my pain, I was able to move on and start to rebuild the trust with that person. It took years to rebuild the trust with that person, but we both showed up to it and we were able to rebuild it. Okay, let me know how you're doing again in the chat. These will be sent to you. This is the healing prompt. So what did I learn from that experience about me? What did I learn to try or not try in the future? So you may have gone through a painful experience of dating, and then you learned, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to hold back on, sharing my needs. Or you may have learned that you don't want to be a certain way. You don't want to be all available every moment of the day when somebody calls, because you were available every moment of the day in that situation. So you always learn something, but you need to reflect and really say, well, what was that? What can I be believing today is possible in the future, even though I've already been hurt in the past? Again, that's the story you're carrying. What's the new story you want to be believing? What's the new story you want to imprint in your mind and start to tell yourself? And lastly, why am I grateful this happened? I always believe we should bless the people that hurt us, not again for them, but also to be able to release that pain is like, okay, you came into my life. Like I remember a partner that I was with for 4 years, emotionally abusive, a very toxic relationship, older than me. I was very naive. And when it ended, I was so strong to walk away from that toxic relationship. It took me like a really long time to walk away. Many things that happened before I walked away. Many people had told me to leave and I didn't listen. And I had to come to that realization and hit my low in that situation. And I am grateful that I met that person. I do not regret 4 years of my life with that person, because I learned a lot of what I don't want. I showed myself my resilience by walking away. So I know I can walk away from somebody even though I love them. And I also learned a lot about myself across the journey, what I was no longer going to put up with, what was important to me and what wasn't important. So I am actually grateful for that relationship. Okay, again, I'm checking in with you every few slides, so I feel like I'm not talking to a robot. Let me know how you're doing. I'm gonna have a sip of my coffee and you're gonna put an emoji in. Sachi, awesome, Nene, thank you, sweetie. Okay, let's go back. Right, so I'm gonna send these prompts to you so you have them. Mistake number 2. So we avoid getting hurt by playing games and dating. We talked about these games a little bit briefly before. We shut down when we're triggered. We're not dating. We may even not be dating at all. And this is a mistake, because like one of my friends, she's always like, I'm focusing on me. I'm focusing on me. I'm focusing on my career. I'm focusing on my work. I'm going to date after I get the degree. I'm going to show up at that point. I don't have time for that in my life. I get it. But in all reality, we don't have time for something that we're afraid is going to cause us exhaustion, frustration, and we're going to feel emotionally drained by, correct? Otherwise, we would have time for it. We have time for people that make us feel like upbeat and give us energy, and we laugh with them, we have a good time, but we don't have time for it, and we will avoid it at all costs if we feel it's going to give us exhaustion and burnout at the end of the day. But it's a mistake, and I'll tell you why as we continue, because it's not going to get us any further, right? So instead of processing the emotions like rejection or fear, we play games. Like, when should I text back? He didn't text back, so it's over. We swiped on the dating app so fast just because we are looking in that tunnel vision, right? We shut down from catching feelings. Like, I'm not going to like him because what if I get hurt? And these can seem like very, very common things that people do, but essentially they all root from the fear of rejection and the fear of getting hurt. So the disconnect from processing our emotions, and I'm going to teach you how to get through this in this exact training. The disconnect from processing our emotions causes us to take dating breaks, create unhealthy beliefs about men, avoid or distract from all of our emotions in the process of dating. And I'm like super congested today, you guys. Thanks for dealing with me. I think I've got a cold. The secret to dating without getting hurt is you can't be everyone's cup of tea. And learning to process rejection and your fears is essential. If you're going to leave this training with one piece, you can't be everyone's cup of tea. What does that mean? It means I meet somebody and I really like them and they don't like me. And I can choose to think of it as in, because they don't make the effort back, they don't respond to my message, they don't carry on with the second date, right? So they don't like me. So I can choose to look at it as in, okay, I'm doing something wrong. There's something wrong with me. I'm not enough. I, didn't say the right thing. I was too much. I was too sensitive. I was too vulnerable. I was too out there. I was too quiet. We could put all of it on us. When in reality, you just weren't compatible. What if it's nothing to do with you and what you showed up and how you showed up today? What if it's just that some people are just not compatible with people and that's totally normal? I've got something in the chat, so let's see what's there. I'm a little funny with this share presentation, so I feel like I have to keep stopping the share to check the chat. I've had the experience. Yeah, Karishma, then you get what I'm talking about, right? So if it's not you, it has nothing to do with who you are. You and that person are just not compatible. And that's a good thing, because you don't want to waste your time with somebody you're not compatible with, somebody who doesn't feel like, they're going to be able to extend any more dates with you or have any more, moments with you. It has nothing to do with you. It's just the fact that you and the 7 billion people we have in the world, not one person, are not compatible. So stop telling yourself it's to do with you, because it's not. It's just compatibility. When you are caught up in fearing rejection, you're going to constantly date from fear versus faith. We cope with the fear of getting hurt by shutting down and avoiding it altogether. We isolate ourselves. We busy ourselves, which sounds like I'm focusing on me. We have all created coping mechanisms we learn in childhood when our emotional needs were not met. This makes us emotionally unavailable in adult relationships. So whether you learned your coping mechanisms in childhood, which most likely you did, but then you kind of repeated them as you met new people and you went into relationships in adulthood, and you learn these coping mechanisms, like I'm going to avoid, I'm going to isolate, I'm going to take a break, I'm going to busy myself. And it won't just be the coping mechanism you have in relationships. It'll be one that probably goes to all parts of your life. And then this in dating and relationships makes us emotionally available. Because if we can't really connect with our feelings and we're avoiding them or we're distracting from them, then we are not emotionally able to be available to address any feelings that are coming up. And then we attract people that are also like that as well. You've heard this term of emotionally available a lot. It's really out there. So if we are dating from fear, we will get hurt. We will put our focus on attracting the wrong guy versus attracting the right guy. And this is about manifestation, right? It's energy, like attracts like. So if we're moving from fear, we're going to subconsciously attract the wrong person into our lives because we don't want to get hurt. So we're going to avoid it at all costs. But if we're moving from faith, we're likely to attract different people. We're still in mistake number 2. Learning to process our emotions like rejection and fear through self-validation is what gains us emotional resilience and freedom. I'm going to teach you how to do that in just a few slides. When we are in charge of our emotions, we're no longer afraid to get hurt. It's quite amazing when that happens. I used to have the fear of dying early because I've experienced, that's my trauma, right? I've experienced death early. Half my family passed away. By the time I was 26, I had lost 2 members of my family of 4. And I used to have this fear of like dying early and just, I'm going to get in a car accident, like living, overthinking, constantly like anxious all the time. And I noticed that until that fear would cripple me, like I would feel it in physical pain in my body. I would be very responsive and reactive to the people I love because it was all coming from fear and not feeling safe. So my nervous system was like on fight or flight at every single moment. And the minute I decided to address the fear, to get connected to that fear of loss, that fear of the unknown, that fear of the uncertain, I created a relationship with the fear. And today I no longer fear it. If I'm to go tomorrow, I'm okay with it. I'm not going to fear it anymore. I'm not afraid of anything. And I'm not even afraid of thinking that way. I've gone past that. Like, I know I'm here for a purpose. I know I'm here to do many things. And so that's just an example of how when we get in charge and ahead of our emotions, we're just no longer afraid of them. Okay, self-validation is saying, I am hurt and this is tough for me, versus I am fine, it's his loss. Sound familiar? And we want to address the feeling, because if we don't address the feeling, it pushes and pushes, or it digs deep into us and then it gets re-triggered by the next person we date. Okay, so processing emotions like rejection and fear, and these are kind of your transformations I talked about, are naming your feeling and validating yourself. So I am feeling hurt. It's okay to feel hurt. This is normal. I also, like, we often go into like the fix it mode. And even if you have a friend that might take you into fix it mode, yeah, you know, it didn't work out with him, and yeah, it's his loss, whatever, fine. And your friend may be like, yeah, it is his loss. And you know what? It doesn't matter because he doesn't deserve you. And there's plenty of other people. I'm going to go into the fix it mode. But we miss the middle. We miss the, I do want to acknowledge I am having a feeling. I do want to validate that it's hard. And sometimes you may be talking to a friend and all you want them to do is tell you, I know that's hard. But all they tell you is, well, you can fix it by doing A, B, C, D. And you don't need the fix. Often in life, we don't need the fix when we're hurting. We just need to be acknowledged, which is the validation. Acknowledging that you have a feeling, acknowledging that it's a hard time. We need the empathy, we don't need the fix. So this is about giving it to yourself. If you have any questions, pop them into the chat, please. How to stop avoiding or shutting out your feelings. So, okay, you guys, you know what? I kind of feel like I missed something here. So let me go back a little bit. Okay, we're still in mistake number 2. Okay. All right. So we want to name the feeling. We want to validate the difficult time you're having. You want to find tools to express your feelings so it moves through your body. I'm going to give you some examples. You want to understand that feelings are not permanent. They're not permanent. They are meant to come and go. If they were permanent, you'd feel happy all the time, sad all the time. And that's not the case, right? Okay, let me know that you're still with me. I'll go through the slide and then I'm going to check in the chat. So process feelings by identifying the emotion. I often guide my clients to dance with the emotion, dance with the feeling. So really let it move through you. You can shake your body with the feeling. You can do an upbeat fitness class, but go in with the intention that I'm going to do this class to process this feeling through my body. You can breathe with slow movement with the feeling. You can sit in front of the mirror and you can just name the feeling. I am feeling this. It's okay to feel this. And just spend some time being really kind and compassionate to yourself, as if you would if you were to help a child having a hurt feeling. Okay, I'm going to stop the share and check the chat. And any questions so far? Are you with me? Are you still with me, or did I lose you attention-wise? Oh, okay, great. Awesome. Let's go back. Okay, so I'm going to get this all to you. So you're going to have this with you. You don't have to like memorize it all. Mistake number 3, not communicating what we need or setting clear boundaries. Okay, this happens all the time. I have a client who I'm going to share her story with in a moment, where she was stuck in a situationship. Have you heard of this situationship word? If you have, put a yes, I've heard of it. Thumbs up in the chat. And it was all because she wasn't communicating her needs or setting clear boundaries from the beginning. And she was trying to like, just be fine with it, be chill, see where it goes. This just wastes our time, right? When we're being too chill and seeing where it goes. So men need to be told what you need. Women need to ask for what they need and say what they feel. It is not obvious if it's not said. Until today, I am in a 16-year partnership where I still have to tell the man I'm married to what I need. It is not obvious. He does not get it. If I expect him to get it because he's known me for X amount of years, I'm setting myself up for a very like broken kind of communication. I do need to tell him what I need. I think it's like the man's brain, they just need it. All right, check in with the chat. How are you doing? All right. Let's move on. 73% of failed relationships are from lack of communication, like proper stat out there. That's a huge percentage. So getting hurt from not communicating your needs. 2, communicating your needs and feeling empowered on your dating journey. Okay, so this is what we want to go from that to this. 4 steps to communicate your boundaries. And I've taught this to many of my clients. I see them practicing it and I see that it's working for them. It's going to get you from exhausted in dating to in her power while dating. So appreciate the person. You always want to, even on a first date, I had a client who used this technique and she was able to really just be on that first date. And she was like, I really appreciate how much you talk about your family. You seem to really care about them. And then validate, right? I know it's hard when you're, going through something. I know it's hard when you've been really busy. I know it's hard that you've got a lot going on with your family right now, whatever it is. That's called validation, acknowledging where the person's at. You do this process because you need to state a boundary. You need to say what's important to you and what you need. So you may appreciate the person, you may validate them, and then you may say, it's really important. What's really important to me moving forward in the dating talk stage, that's what they call it when you start talking, is consistency. Like I love to be able to hear from somebody, on a daily basis and check in. And even if it's like an emoji or a text or a WhatsApp or a voice note, or it may be, it's really important to me that I communicate via phone call because text is not my thing. And then you want to ask, what did you hear me say? It's such a weird question. It's going to take the person off guard and be like, what do you mean? What did I hear you say? Be like, yeah, I use this communication technique at work. You could say use it at work, or I use it with friends, or I learned it, which you are learning it now. And you can say, yeah, I just want to know what you heard me say. And the person could say, oh, I heard you say that you can only communicate by talking. You can't communicate the other ways. No, I didn't say that. Then you can clarify. I like to communicate by talking. It's important to me. I'm also able to communicate other ways. So you see how like they can hear different from what you tell them, and then you ask for confirmation, right? Is it important to you? Like, does it matter to you to communicate via the phone, versus text? Like, tell me more about what you feel about it. Because you want to be open to their boundaries and you want to be open to what they also enjoy, right? And this is how you're going to check, are we compatible or not? Not that like, okay, if he communicates via text and I communicate via phone, we're not compatible. But it's going to give you an idea moving forward as to how compatible you are. Okay, you need to let me know with a thumbs up if this makes sense and you have any questions. This is a slide we must interact on. Nanny, you've tried this, so you have an idea, right? Okay. Yeah. So anyone else, Sachi and Krishma, let me know, if this communication technique is something that you're understanding with the examples I gave you. And then I'll get back to it. All right. Oh, I see one more in the chat. Awesome. Okay, it's making sense. Great. You're going to get a copy of it, right? And you kind of just have to practice this. And the best place to practice this is with like friends and at work, because you can get good at it. And then when you meet somebody you like kind of like and you're nervous around, you've already practiced it so much that it's easier to practice it with that person. Okay, when you don't ask for what you need because you don't want to be too needy or too demanding, you can spend 2 months in a casual situationship, afraid it's too soon to bring these kinds of things up, like a title on your togetherness. And if you show him it's casual and you show him, I'm cool, I'm chill, yeah, like it's okay if I don't see you for 5 days or hear from you for 5 days, he will keep doing just that. If you keep it casual, it's possibly he's dating other people while dating you, because you never communicated what you needed. You never put any boundaries on it. And I ask you this, would you rather communicate what you need early than spend time in something that you don't want for a long time? Like you tell me that, like put a thumbs up if you'd rather communicate what you want early versus waste time in something that could be anything or could be nothing just because you never communicate, right? So we don't want to be afraid to communicate our needs. Okay, so here's a little diagram of what I mean. Tell him your needs within the first month of dating, right? So I appreciate you reaching out. That's so sweet. This is about a boundary of not meeting somebody like on late notice. I appreciate you reaching out. That's so sweet. You sound excited and ready to meet now. Let's consider that this is like 9 or 10 p.m. on a weekday. You're in bed. This person reaches out and is asking you to meet up at this time. And this is how you're going to communicate with me. I appreciate you reaching out. That's sweet. You sound excited and ready to meet now. That's the validation. Last minute plans just don't work for me. I am really looking forward to seeing you on Friday or to seeing you on the weekend. It could have been planned, but maybe you're going to plan it in that moment. Just checking to see what you heard me say. And the person would say, okay, I heard you say that you can't meet now, but that you're still able to meet on the weekend. Yeah, that's right. Does this work for you? Then you get to the confirmation and the clarification. I love this checking what you heard by saying, what did you hear me say? Because communication, we know, is 73% of the reason that all relationships end. And that's because we don't use this technique. We don't say, what did you hear me say? Until today, I may ask my partner for something. And if I don't ask, like if it's important to me and I don't ask, what did you hear me say? He will still say like different from what I said. And it's 16 years, you guys. Like, still, it's happening. That's why it's so important to learn this now, so you can get into a solid, really grounded relationship and be able to use these techniques for a lifetime. Any questions here? Pop them in the chat if you have any questions, okay? Effective communication of your needs and feelings will save you time and energy on your dating journey and get you to filter faster. That's why we're doing it. Your life partner will want to hear what you have to say. They're going to want to hear your opinion. They're going to want to hear what's important to you. Communicating boundaries equals filtering faster in dating, which equals attracting quality men invested in you. Mistake number 4, tunnel vision dating. It's our last mistake, without intention or a clear mindset. You scroll through the app looking for a quality match, yet you have not increased the quality of your dating mindset. What does that even mean? Current mindset may sound like there are no good men out there. All the men are the same. This app is only for hookups, Tinder. Although I know 2 of my cousins that are in relationships with guys they met on Tinder, by the way. I'll never meet him on an app. I'll be alone forever. I should be married by now. I'm not saying that it's wrong that you have these thoughts. They are valid. You've been through something. Life has created these thoughts in your mind. I'm not telling you not to have them. I'm just telling you to be aware of what your current dating mindset is and the potential of what it could be. If you believe he doesn't exist or there are no good men out there, then he doesn't exist and there are no good men out there. Whatever you tell your brain is what it's going to believe. Upgraded mindset can embody, it's safe to believe there are some good men out there. I'm not telling you to say it's safe to believe all men are amazing out there, because it's not true. Some men are the same and some men are different. And so we do this mindset work through coaching, right? That's what the mindset work is. Apps are an opportunity to make connections. 33% of marriages have happened from couples who met on a dating app. I know 2 people personally that have got married from dating them. I believe my man is out there. This is exactly where I'm meant to be, and I can be present here. I have plenty of time to meet him. So we're not rushing ourselves, right? We're not like trying to get to the end versus being curious and really enjoying where we're at. So I'm going to send this to you. You don't have to write it down, so you have these with you. But put in the chat, ladies, which one do you like best? Can you write it in the chat? I want to know which one you like best. Which one would you like take away? Let's like take a peek and see where you're at. Oh, I got some chat love. Okay, so I believe my man is out there. Sachi, I like that one. Good, yeah. Versus like there are no good men out there, right? Totally different. Oh, we have another one. Oh my gosh, I love that you guys are sharing. Oh, okay, Krishma, you like that one too. Awesome. Nene, which one do you like? Okay, I'll come back to it. All right, so what do we have now? We have dating intentions. You focus your intention on meeting Mr. Right now versus focusing on being present, curious, and practicing getting better at dating without the fear of getting hurt. right? So we can practice different things in dating. We can take it as a school. I want to practice setting boundaries. I want to practice, like Nene, you've done this. I want to practice speaking up. I want to practice managing rejection. I want to practice just being curious and seeing who I'm compatible with and who I'm not compatible with. And this is how you can learn to enjoy the process versus just feeling like exhausted from it. It all is based on your intention and what you state. If you have tunnel vision, right? Tunnel vision is like, it has to be this way. I'm only going to date because I need to get married by X amount of time. If you have tunnel vision and if it doesn't match all of what Mr. Right should match, you're going to swipe forward. So if you believe I can only meet a man who is in this religion, who is at this level in their career, who is looking to get married within X amount of months, you are not going to see the man who might not be in that career yet, but is working hard towards it on the side. You might not see the person who might not say that like they're ready to get married, but has potential to get there, right? You might not see all those people because you're like this and you're missing everything else. You could be missing out on opportunities to meet him when you are not present and only focused on the final outcome. When you know what you want, you get better at dating. So when you know what you're going in there for, right? You know what you want to get better at in dating. Then eventually you can give that to your healthy relationship too, right? So dating can be a school to practice what you feel most empowered by in dating. What do I want to practice that I did not practice in my past relationships or dating? So let's look at that. Maybe I want to practice. So these are some of clients like practices that they've had that I'm sharing: setting clear boundaries, communicating clearly. Nani, this is yours: speaking up, managing rejection, expressing vulnerability. Like some people that may have got so used to shutting down their feelings that they didn't express them. Being honest with no game playing. Hey, like, I'm going to make the first move. I'm going to ask you out. Okay. If you don't say yes, we're just not compatible. Or I'm going to text you. I'm not going to wait 3 hours after the text to text you. Or I'm going to be on a date and you, and instead of waiting to send you a text after the date, I had a good time, I'm just going to tell you right now I had a good time before I leave you. Making the first move is also another success that I've seen with a couple clients as well. So these are what they wanted to get used to practicing and how they did so in dating. Do you want to keep repeating the same mistakes in dating, or do you want to learn how to practice getting better at finding love? Either we're repeating the same mistakes, or we want to practice healing and finding love. Which one are you at? 1 or 2? 1 is the black box, 2 is the pink box. Put it in the chat. I'm seeing 2, yeah. Oh, the first one, Nene, was it's safe. We'll go back. It's safe to believe. Go back for you. She was looking at the thoughts. It's safe to believe there are some good men out there. That was the first one. Okay. So if you are ready to address your love fears, gain emotional freedom, date with purpose, and find love, then carry on. So I'm going to tell you a little about Conscious Love Mentorship. We have a client on the Conscious Love Mentorship here on our call with us today, which I'm so grateful that she's here sharing space with us. So the Conscious Love Membership is all about stop getting hurt in love, taking dating breaks, and prolonging your path to meeting Mr. Right. Part 1, we address the love fears. Part 2, we gain emotional freedom. Part 3, we date with purpose and hope. And part 4, we manifest our minutes. 1 is addressing love fears. Stay tuned to see what that looks like. Identifying what patterns you carry from childhood that are affecting who you attract and how you sustain adulthood relationships, right? So my pattern was fear of abandonment. It affected who I attracted for years, and it affected how I sustained that relationship. I kept choosing men that were like a lot older than me, had a lot of baggage, and then I would like put myself at a distance from these people because I was afraid to get hurt until I knew my pattern. Discover what limiting beliefs are lodged in your subconscious mind and how they affect the men you choose, such as love doesn't last for me. You know, I'll never find true love. Like these can all be very limiting beliefs we have, or I'm not worthy of true love. I'm not deserving of it. Identify what fears you are carrying that cause you to self-sabotage or pick the wrong guys. Understand and capture your triggers in love that make you shut down, avoid, or distract. Learn to manage these triggers while dating. Heal and nurture the wounded inner child who is reactive, impulsive, indecisive, helpless, proving herself. That has to be perfect part. So addressing love fears is identifying your love patterns, rewiring limiting beliefs, face your fears in love and learn to manage them, discover your triggers and how to respond to them, and meet your inner child to nurture her wounds. And this all helps you dissolve the fear of getting hurt. Any questions? I'm here. I'll check in with the chat. Stay with me. You can attract healthy love if you are carrying past pain. You just can't attract healthy love. That is being triggered on your dating journey. It's going to continue to get triggered. It's going to be hard to attract when you have this block of the pain that you're carrying. I want to share Osra Burdai's journey. She was 8 weeks into the Conscious Love Mentorship. Her main focus was trying to release those childhood wounds that were heavily affecting her relationship and how she showed up. So she said, if you're looking to start your journey on self-healing, this mentorship changed my life. She took the leap of faith. Working with Sasha has been life-changing. I was depressed when I started, and now I'm happy. She supported me. The videos allow me to be my true self. She's kind, patient, loving, encouraging, gives me space while leading the mentorship. Again, changed my life. So she's only 8 weeks in. She's really not depressed anymore, which is amazing. So just sharing some of the feedback so you can see what it looks like. Gaining emotional freedom, part 2. So these are our transformations, right? When you don't know how to process your emotions, you will not feel safe to feel them. So you will do everything to avoid them. Remember, I told you when I had that fear and I didn't feel safe to really process the fear. So I avoided it and I resisted it, but yet I kept feeling it. And that makes it hard to date when you're coming from fear. You're missing opportunities because you just don't want to get hurt. So most of us have unhealthy coping mechanisms. So when we have strong feelings, our best way to cope is how we taught ourselves to do when we were a child. These are common to most of us. They show up in isolation, avoidance, and distraction. This is because we were not taught or given tools to process our emotions as a child. It's not your fault. It's not your parents' fault. It just happened. It's a different generation that we were being raised by. The Conscious Love Mentorship includes 12+ everyday tools to process feelings from anger and rejection to sadness and hurt without having to wear the mask, I am fine anymore. And now we have learned, right? So once we have learned that self-love is necessary to love others, we feel loved, but yet we don't know where to start. So the mentorship also includes everyday tools to love me daily, to get you validating yourself, loving yourself versus seeking external validation from the outside. Love, mindset, body work, and mirror work have incredible strength in feeling worthy and deserving. The mentorship shows you how to create a healthy love mindset, forgive your body, start to love your body, forgive your past, celebrate you through mirror work, belief work, and enhance your self-esteem and self-compassion. So to gain emotional freedom, we need to practice self-validation. We need to practice self-compassion, and we need to process the emotions versus hiding or shutting them down. So going from I am fine to I am hurt. And that's going to get us comfortable with our emotion. If you're already feeling like you want to get off this call, that means this is triggering for you. You want to shut down from this stuff because this is your coping mechanism. And this is what you've learned to do. Quality men are attracted to a woman who is confident in herself and who feels deserving of love. Ola is another client I want to share with you. Her goal was to be kinder to herself and process her emotions coming up when she was dating. So just a little testimonial here. She's 13 weeks in, she has just to kind of sum it up, she said, I learned to slow down my thoughts, and to really self-love has been an area I needed to improve. And the biggest learning has been how to be more soft and gentle because she was very hard and strong on herself. I've overcome my fear of expressing my thoughts that have materialized into action of doing that. I now know how to identify and point out areas that I need closure on through my patterns and beliefs. I've learned not to attach myself to my thoughts and to recognize them. The biggest tool has been validation and appreciation and communication with her. She was stuck in a really long situationship, and she's managed to really make a decision and move on. I can now set boundaries, and I'm practicing self-love. That's just to give you an idea of her journey. Date without compromising standards or wasting time. When you are being you and believe in who you deserve, you stay focused on your love goals, you set and stick to boundaries and communicate freely so you date without the games. Showing up as yourself is the best dating strategy. Because if they don't like it, you're just not compatible. And that's not a bad thing. That just saves you time. So here's my little kind of diagram I've created for you. Date without compromising standards or wasting time. So it starts here. You got to have a clear intention. what's my strategy, right? And this is what I get really in depth to in the mentorship. What is my intention? Do I want to date to, speak up? Do I want to date to set boundaries? Do I want to date to really just like learn to be curious about somebody? Do I want to just date to see if we're compatible? Because then that gets me, if I'm not compatible with 10 people, maybe I'm compatible with the 11th person. And that's going to help you filter faster, saving you time, which is going to lead you the ability to identify compatibility and move forward if it's not there, which is going to lead you to keep showing up with ease and trust until you find your life partner. So if we get stuck in this stage, we get stuck in he doesn't like me, there's something wrong with me, versus we're just not compatible. And that's okay. Like not everybody's compatible. It's not my cup of tea, right? And if we get stuck in the filtering stage, we just end up losing a lot of time, choosing the wrong people because we're not filtering faster. And we can't do any of that if we don't have an intention or strategy. Like, why am I even dating? Why am I showing up to this? So let me know if you have any questions here. Any questions? Put them in the chat. Kreshma, Sachi, Nene. Always feel free to speak your mind. Okay, we're almost done. Being in a rush in dating is desperation to meet the man of your dreams. When we do this, we attract the wrong people. And this is why intention and strategy is so clear. I've got Ekta here. I want to share. She's completed the Conscious Love mentorship. We spent 9 months together. Sometimes we go through 6, sometimes a bit longer. Just sharing her journey. So halfway through the course, she had fallen in love with her body. There was no more body shaming, dieting, or wondering what would look good on her. She felt secure in what she brought to a relationship and even started dating without the fear of being rejected or getting hurt. She started the Conscious Love mentorship not ready to date, hating her body, struggling to love anything about her, knowing and not really knowing what she wanted. She applied the work from the mentorship diligently. She found her limiting beliefs, healed from past pain, started to deeply love herself. She created a dating mindset that gave her the upper hand in choosing who she wanted to spend time with, what she wanted to practice, and her non-negotiables. So she started to enjoy dating. She's now dating without the fear of getting hurt. She's walked away from quite a few dating relations, like she's dating talk stages. She's been the one to walk away because she just felt she wasn't compatible, but she shows up weekly to find her life partner. She's no longer triggered by weddings or family pressure, and she knows Mr. Right exists and she will meet him. So she's just in that really calm state of dating, which is where you want to be. You don't want to be dealing with the exhaustion of it. Manifest your man from trust. So this is the last part. Build the beliefs that he exists and the timing is in perfect order. So this is where the stage that Ekta would be in now. The first step of manifesting is building a big belief that he is coming, right? Your big belief could be it's safe to believe he even exists, or my man is out there. You can make that as big as you want in your mind, depending on how often you repeat it to yourself. Big beliefs are only possible once you have addressed your fears, gained emotional freedom, and started dating without compromising your standards. Oh, we have another person joining. Manifestation is simply energy. Like attracts like. So if I am dating the wrong guys, it's like, that's the like that's attracting. Okay, so we're continuing. We're almost through, but please stay and we will get you this recording so you can enjoy it and go through it again. Manifestation is also the ability to create an image in the mind that brings you calm, trust, and ease. So what the belief work plus the visualization. So I believe he's out there. And then I can actually visualize the fact that he's out there. Maybe I visualize characteristics about him. Maybe it's his height. Maybe it's like something that, kind of aligns with what you can see as an image. Belief work plus visualization can be learned. And that's part 4 of the Conscious Love mentorship. And that's what it teaches you. Manifestation is magnified when we couple belief plus visualization with action. So let's say I believe he's out there. I can visualize it, but I take no action to show up. I'm not dating. I'm not saying yes to things I'm invited to. I'm not like open to even the apps. So the 3 components have to work together. And you are more likely to take action and show up to date, say yes to meeting new groups if you're feeling calm and ease versus fear and worry. That's why it's so important that we address those fears. When belief and vision meet action, you receive what you want. It's not about I need to receive it in 1 week, or I need to receive it in 3 weeks or 3 months, but it's coming, and it comes. If you take one thing away, going back to heal what has hurt you, may be icky, it may feel heavy, but it is pivotal to help you find your life partner faster. Otherwise, you're just carrying baggage into every date you go into every situationship you go into every relationship you go into. You're just carrying baggage if you don't heal what's hurt you. When we blossom into a higher vibration, we attract higher vibrational. The big question now is, how can you apply this framework to finding your life? Okay, I'm going to stop in the chat and check in to see. We have one beautiful being, holistic being. She's joined. Share your name and say hello. Yeah. Now, Nene, I know that you're already on the mentorship, my love. So if you want to leave the call, I'm totally fine with that. Because you've got majority of what you needed to see here. However, if you want to share something in the chat before you go, being on the mentorship, share how it's helped you, share where you're at in your journey. Hi, nice to meet you. What's your name? Do we have a new friend to join? Hi, Salama. So Salama, we've been through most of the recording. We're coming to the end, which is talking about the mentorship, but I'm going to send you the recording so you can go through the mistakes and you can go through the transformation. So you have it with you. But stay to the end just for a few minutes to hear and kind of get the vibe. All right, so I'll give Nene a chance if she wants to carry off because she's already on the mentorship. So the big question now is, how can you apply the framework to finding your life partner? You want to ditch the fear of getting hurt, date aimlessly with the fear of attracting the wrong. You're exhausted to show up, you're done trying, like you're fed up. And we want to move to managing our emotions, dating with intention, and meeting our life partner. We want to break free of fear, learn to manage our emotions, show up with intention and strategy, hold high beliefs in his existence and your ability to meet. It is time for you to say goodbye to the fear of getting hurt, attracting the wrong guys, and shutting your emotions down, right? It is time for you to follow a framework that takes the frustration and fear out of dating and helps you find love. Enrollment is open for the Conscious Love Mentorship, ladies. I've got 2 open spaces, only 2. Do me a favor, close your eyes, sit up tall. Let's just practice something. Take a deep breath in. Before I was a love coach, I was a yoga and mindfulness and well-being teacher. So I do integrate a lot of that into my teachings. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Please close your eyes with me, ground your feet. Just do this for 2 minutes, okay, even if you're at work. Close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths into your body. 1. Let it out. 2. Let it out. Relax your shoulders on the 3rd one. And I want you to imagine that 6 months from today, you are free of fears and you're free of the fear of getting hurt. You know how deserving of love you are. You know what your triggers are. You know the tools to help yourself when you're struggling. And you're no longer afraid to get hurt. Like you're just not in that space. Imagine the girl in you that is that woman. You date with ease. You have high standards. Imagine her. I'll just ask you to go on mute if you're not. You have an image of your man so clear in your mind that you know with all your heart he's coming. Imagine that. You know he's coming. Nothing is going to alter that. Nothing is going to get in the way of that belief. Because you've done so much work to clear the path for that there's no going back. Your belief has matched your intentions and it's matching your action and it's all coming. Imagine that woman. What does she look like? How does she speak? What does she sound like? And how does she show up? Take a deep breath now and come back to me. Opening your eyes. Okay. So I want to share something that Nene shared on the chat. She's saying she's already on the mentorship. Being on the mentorship has really helped me boost my confidence when it comes to speaking up, whether that is work within a social or dating environment, to validate myself more, celebrate my wins, even the small ones, And I'm not afraid to disappoint by practicing setting boundaries. Good. Nanny, I love that. Thank you again, Sasha, for coaching me. I've loved coaching you. It's been such an honor. And the fact that you're even here continuing to show up for yourself and learn these mistakes, even though you and I go through them weekly, like, I love it. You make me very proud, and I hope that you're proud of yourself. So essentially, I want to give you a bird's eye view of what my mentorship is. You get 40 plus tools and practices to heal, address fears, build self-worth, date with intention, manifest your man. This is not a cookie cutter program. It's unique to everybody. I have lived and experienced everything I'm sharing with you, from my dating times to my current relationship. I have practiced every single tool I will give you. I'm very much a practice what you preach person. And I'm not just giving you a tool that I haven't put into action myself, including the manifestation. So what do you get in the curriculum? Well, you get the 40 tools on the mentorship page. You get 6 months of one-to-one love coaching with me, 1 hour weekly. You get weekly mentoring through the 4 parts of mentorship that you apply and practice. So yeah, you can talk to me for 1 week and we can go through a lot and we can get and break through some things. But when you're applying the work, as you move through your week, as you get out there and date, as you interact with somebody, you're putting in boundaries, you're raising your standards, you're saying no to things, you're understanding compatibility, you're managing rejection. All of this is how you do the work on you. It's how the success really happens. You can get immediate access to the mentorship as soon as you start. So it's a proven method that addresses love fears, brings you emotional and dating ease, gets you closer to meeting Mr. Right and attracting your love partner. And this is it. Part 1 is addressing your fears and patterns. Part 2 is emotional freedom. Part 3 is dating with purpose and hope, because we need hope. And part 4 is to manifest your man. And doors are open for my 2 last spaces. The question isn't whether you'll be able to do it. It's not like, do I have enough time to do it? Am I going to be busy with work? Do I have too much going on with my family? It's not the right time. It's how much do you want to find your life partner? That's the question. And this work is going to pave the path to get there. Are you ready to love you in 2023? And as a result, find love in 2023? Because as you up your worth, you attract somebody who is also at that higher vibration. You're not attracting the same dirt that you've been attracting before. Okay, a last testimonial to share with you from Aisha, 12 weeks in. This is the lady I was telling you about who kind of got stuck in a situationship that was prolonged. So she just wrote a text message and she just wanted to use this as her testimonial. She's like, last night on my way back from Abu Dhabi, you came to my mind. I had an extreme sense of gratitude for having you in my life. You were one of the few people who considered to be pure blessing, one of the best things that's happened to me this year. I'm very lucky and will forever be grateful for your guidance, for always showing me how great, valuable, and strong lady I am. I feel like she's learned to find that for herself. I've just been there as a person to support, but she has shown that to herself. It is true that I cried my eyes out in our last session. It felt really good. I believe that I am an amazing human being who deserves to be with a person who can reciprocate that in a healthy manner. So that person she was with was not. Thank you again. I just thought of sharing this with you. So Aisha has left her situationship. She was in it for 3 months, and her aha moment or mind-blowing moment was when she realized, well, who do I want? I want somebody who is going to give me consistency and stability. And even though I have chemistry with this guy, even though we do fun things, even though he buys me gifts, I don't have consistency from him. Every time she asked the question, like, are you dating anybody else? He'd go around in circles, never answering it. Every time she expressed what was important to her, he would hear something different. She used all the techniques like the appreciation, the validation, the boundary setting, the ask what you heard, the raising her standards. She tried it all. And he was still coming back with all of just, I don't know, I don't want to label us. Let's just see where it goes. And she was done with it. And she reached a point where she's like, I deserve more than this. And so she walked away from the situationship. And we're working through healing through that, because it's actually more hurtful, ladies, to walk away from a situationship than a relationship, because the situationship you're walking away from is the idea of what it could be like with the person. Whereas the relationship, you kind of already experienced what it's like. It's harder to walk away from a potential of something versus all the colors you've already seen. So I'm really proud of her for doing that. I had nothing to do with it, really. I think she just built so much in her in the 12 weeks together that she did it. That's it. And my action statement to each of you is the next step is to book a free call with me, a one-to-one call, where we can get really deep into actual love coaching. You can experience it. The call link is here. I'm going to put it in the chat so you can save it. I have call opportunities available for the rest of the month. I have 2 spaces left to take on new clients on the mentorship, and I'm going to paste the call link in the chat. And that's it, my love. So this is all I wanted to share with you today. Of course, you know, I've shared the mistakes in the first part and the transformations. Do you have any questions while I get the call link ready for you? Questions, you can come off mute. You can share them in the chat. Tell me everything that you're feeling. I'd love to hear from you now. Now it's your time. Share. I'm going to put the call link in the chat now. That's how you book a free call with me. Okay. Nene, how are you feeling after this training? What is like your aha? What are you taking away? Sachi, same question to you. Go ahead.
Definitely, for me, it's being on the coaching journey. Yeah. I think for me, it's more about continuing to practice some of these points that we've already addressed. It's just really practicing them and being consistent with them.
Yeah. Are you still showing up to date?
Sorry, say that again.
Are you showing up to date now? Are you showing up?
Well, on the app, yeah. So it's not something that I'm like looking at all of those limiting beliefs that we spoke about and all of those. I think the slides that we showed earlier. It's all about the intention you set for yourself. That's what I found. So.
And Nene, did you learn anything new about dating and the mistakes on this training?
I think the training really helped reinforce what we already went through in our coaching sessions. So some of the limiting beliefs that I used to have about the apps, and really, I think this session really helped to reinforce that more than learning anything new. So it's always helpful.
That's good. So I'll offer more then in future on different topics. Sachi, how about you? What are you taking away as you leave the training? Karishma, what are you taking away? Put it in the chat. Oh, and also, Karishma, I see that you have a question. So yeah, please do share it. I'll take about 5-10 minutes for the chat to address any questions. If you need to leave, that's fine, but please at least share how you're feeling, what you're taking away, and then you're free to go. I value your Sunday. I value your time. So, Karishma, what is the question you wanted to ask? I'm not seeing the whole question in the chat. It's so important for us to like ask these questions and learn from each other. And also, Sachi, if you have any questions, you want to just take, what are you taking away as you leave training today? Okay. So we have it now. I normally tend to communicate well with people when I'm not seeing them in a romantic light. Yeah, but once I like them, suddenly I feel like I don't know how to be myself. Oh my gosh. Nene, can you agree? I feel like I've had that experience too. So it's just because you have, right? Like you have like this emotional spark. And I think Nene answered that question really well because she said that once you practice it, it just gets easier to do it, like in the same method, right? Or addressing, Karishma, like what, or Sachi, that was yours. So addressing, what am I thinking about my ability to communicate with this person? Like, what am I thinking? Am I thinking he's going to judge me? Am I thinking he's not going to like me? Am I thinking he's going to have an opinion or that I'm too much? Get the thoughts that you're thinking about why it's hard for you to communicate with this person. Those are probably your limiting beliefs. So one of my limiting beliefs was I'm too sensitive. And so like I'm needy, I'm clingy, I'm sensitive. I grew up as a very sensitive child. I was told all the time, Sasha's too sensitive. Don't do that. She's too sensitive. She's sensitive. And I developed this like I'm needy, I'm sensitive type of mentality. Like I was always the one holding my mom's skirt and like hiding behind her. And it's not that I'm needy and sensitive. Now I know that as an adult. It's just that that's who I am. I'm very emotional and that's an amazing thing. So if I'm not getting love expressed to me by the person that I'm with, I can become a little sensitive, and that's very normal. So it would be important for me to know that about myself. You can only know that about yourself if you ask the question, why am I more like, you know, why is it harder for me to be me around this person? What am I thinking they're going to think about me? What am I thinking about myself? So Sachi, I want you to answer those questions. What do I think they think about me in that romantic field? And what am I thinking about myself when I'm in that romantic state? And you're going to find your limiting belief there. And as you find your limiting belief, you're going to be like, okay, well, I can choose to tell myself a different story now. I've been thinking, Sasha was thinking she was sensitive forever. And then she found it. She's like, if anyone calls me sensitive now, I'll be like, yeah, thank you. I'm really owning up to that because I see it as a good thing now. Okay, she's also shared, I don't think it's important to take time to get to know someone, but I do understand taking time to see how it goes. How do we not rush it when we meet people? Okay, so I do think it's important to take time to get to know someone. Absolutely, right? But I don't understand, so I do understand taking time to see how it goes. Okay, so that you get. Rushing it. The way to not rush it is to be really present with the person and to keep communicating with yourself, asking yourself, okay, you get home from a date and the question is maybe going through your mind, what did he think of me? Did he like me? Was I too chatty? Did I not chat enough? Versus the question being, what did I like about this situation? What did I like about the way that I showed up? What did I like about this person? What did I like about the date that we were on? How did I feel in that date? And when you can stay aligned to keep connecting back with yourself, you won't rush it because you'll be very present with your journey in that experience versus what he thinks. Keep turning it back to you. What do I think? What did I like? What am I glad? How am I glad I showed up in this? You know, what didn't I like about the situation? What felt a little uncomfortable and what felt really comfortable. So just continuing to get to know you post-date, like that could be like, Nene, I feel like that should be like a post-date ritual where we come back from the date and we answer all those questions so that we can really get connected to, well, is this for me? And that's how you don't rush it. Another way you don't rush it is by being clear about your boundaries. If this lady who was in a situationship, right? If she got clear about her boundaries, she said, listen, I've been dating you for 3 months. I now need to know like where we stand, like, you know, and maybe not in those words, but it's important to me that we move from the talking stage to the next stage in this, you know, whatever this is. And that person just kept taking her around the bush. They were not willing to move from that stage because he was talking to other people. He had a lot going on. He wasn't putting her first. And so it wasn't her rushing it. It was her just asking for what she needed. Now, if you ask for what you need and it's too soon for the other person, they can be very mature and communicate, hey, it's a little too soon. Would you be okay with just continuing like this for another month or two and then readdressing it? Then you can be like, you were mature enough to say what you needed. I feel okay with that. Or they could say, well, no, I'm not willing to go there. So then is that rushing it or is that saving yourself time? And that's something you want to kind of look at, right? Like I'd rather save myself time than feel like I have to rush something. So you've given me a thumbs up. Okay, so I get you're getting it. And then Sachi's also, Krishna shared, I do think it's, okay, great. I think it's, Sachi sharing, I think it's the feeling of not feeling worthy of their attention. That's a big one, especially if they're much more accomplished in their life. Yeah. That reminds me of my cousin's situation and how she sabotaged love for herself. The one I told you just got engaged. She would go into dating, like hiding that she was a very successful business development manager for KPMG. Like she was really up there, like her role was high. But every time she shared it, she would get like these, like they were intimidated by her sharing what she did for her work. So she stopped sharing it because she felt like she was pushing people away if she shared, right? But it was because, and this is where it comes back to what you're saying, she was feeling insecure herself about the fact that she had reached this level in her job and that people would not, like a guy wouldn't want to date somebody at a certain level in career. And so she was insecure about that. So the minute she worked on her insecurity about that, by literally reframing that mindset, by practicing thinking differently, by practicing, saying different things to her. Then she attracted somebody who like, still she's at a higher, like more accomplished level than this person, but he was not intimidated by that. That's the person she got engaged to. He wasn't intimidated by that because she attracted a secure person because she became secure. And this is the like attracts like, what we talked about, the manifestation. So if you're feeling not worthy of their attention, I ask you to question, where is this coming from? You remember the questions we did in the beginning of the presentation that I'm going to send you? When did this start? Where is this coming from? How long have I felt like this? And I want you to get deeper to that, because I believe for you, that's a limiting belief that's in your subconscious mind that is playing out in your current life. And the minute we can identify what that belief is, and this is the work, of course, I help the clients do, and you get on that free call, and we can do it in that free call if you want, we'll get it. The minute that we can identify that, we're then going to be aware of how we can build that security and how we can shift from that belief, right? So I had the limiting belief, I'm running out of time. And it would make me be very rushed in everything I did, my work, my family, my partner. Like I kept thinking, I'm going to run out of time with this person, so I have to like stalk him to do all these things all the time with me. I have to have like a date night every week, and has to work all of this. And I just lived very anxiously. And that's because I had a limiting belief I was running out of time. Once I gained security around that and secured myself, I no longer moved from that energy. And it really did better my relationship. I hope that makes sense, Sachi. Give me a thumbs up if it does. This call has helped me understand where I'm coming from and what my limiting. Oh, you're welcome, Sachi. Karishma, Sachi, Nene, I'm really amazed. You guys are like my really dedicated people that you're here and you showed up to this. Like 40 people signed up and you guys showed up. And these are the people I love to work with, are the ones that are ready to do the work and they're ready to like stop. They're fed up and they're no longer going to just live in that fed up mess. And stop making these mistakes, make the transformation. These are the people I know that have, amazing success stories. And for any of you who've watched the recording, I'm so proud of you for taking the time to watch it, because it's been 90 minutes of your day. All right, I'm going to let you go. I will send you the recording so you have it and you can address it. Nene, of course, I'll be seeing you next week for our call, so we'll catch up then. Sachi, Karishma, anyone else watching, use the link in the chat to book your free call. We can get through a lot. Even Nene, do you remember our first call, your free call? How much we got through in that first session?
Yeah,
Mine.
that was very insightful to say.
So even if you didn't sign up, you would have learned something about you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So ladies, get your free call in. Let's book it. Let's get one-to-one and really address what's going on for you. Thank you. Much love to each of you. I'm so proud of you. And I'm going to share this with you so you have it with you in your inbox and you can take the slides and stuff. I'll share the presentation. Have a beautiful Sunday and speak soon. Bye. Bye, Nene. See you soon. Bye, Karishma. Bye, Sachi.